Okay, so it is October 9th, 9 days into the challenge, and I already told you this morning how I felt absolutely miserable. Um, but I didn't share an experience with you. And I've been thinking a lot today about different stories that I've heard of other people's experiences with alcohol, and I'm sure you're kind of tired of hearing about my own personal life. Um, a story that my grandma always liked to tell me was how her and grandpa, they would go to parties together, and she would get uh no, feisty, I think the word is, and grandpa would pick her up, put her over his shoulder, and carry her home. And one story that she really liked to tell is how they were partying at the neighbor's house, and she wanted to dance. Grandpa didn't feel like dancing. So one of the neighbors says, "Well, come on, Alma." He didn't call her grandma, obviously. Her name was Alma. "Come on, Alma, I'll dance with you." And she got up to dance with him. And I guess Grandpa got kind of jealous and they started fighting. And Grandma really likes to tell a story about how he came after her and she picked up a 2x4 and knocked him plumb on his ass. And years later, I was drinking with a neighbor that used to drink with my grandparents, and he told me, "Your grandpa John, he was so drunk that she probably could have tapped him with a feather and he'd have fallen over." And it's kind of funny how your perception of events is altered when you're under the influence. But grandma always stuck to that story. She never changed it. And I don't know if you know about the car accident that my mom and my brother and myself were in back in like 1986 or 1987. I'm not sure if there was alcohol in that incident or not. It probably was drug related. Whether it was prescription or not is to be determined or irrelevant. But it was about that time my grandma quit drinking alcohol altogether. And if you really want to quit drinking, you'll find a way. And now, grandma, she would tell me about stuff that happened when she was younger with her and grandpa, about grandpa going out and spending all the money, all the milk money on alcohol, partying with his uncles, getting in trouble with the cops. But when it came down to it, even though grandma would only have like one or two wine coolers, very rarely, sitting out in the sun for when she got out of the swimming pool, I never knew her to be much of a drinker. But she just quit. And it's amazing the power that your mind has, that once you decide that you want to do something, you can just make it happen. And I don't know, I'm only 9 days in, and I've been alcohol free for at least 3 months before, if not longer. And it it's different for everyone. Some people find it a little bit more difficult than others, but I'm going to keep pushing through this and get through this month. And I don't know if I'm going to pick up drinking full time after that again, or if I'm not going to drink at all. But it doesn't matter, because the important part is I didn't drink today. And all you can do is just take your life one day at a time. Don't take your life. But, just, I really miss my grandpa. Uh, there was hey, I'm gonna give you another quick story here. My family was never really affectionate, and we seen people that were huggers or big on PDA. We seen them as kind of strange. So like when my sons grandma would hug me and tell me she loves me, like before my son was ever even born, when I first started dating his dad. I just thought that was weird. But this one 4th of July reunion, I had to have been about 11 years old, and I wanted to talk to the older people in my family and, listen to their stories, because listening to them, listening to the older generation tell things, the gleam in their eyes, and their accounts of the reality they lived, it's just phenomenal. So at that time, I sat around, I would sit down with different uncles and aunts, second uncles, second cousins, I don't know, whatever. And I'd say, tell me a story. And I remember sitting down next to my grandfather, and I don't know if I asked him to tell me a story. I don't know. I think it was probably Aunt Emily that told me a story, or maybe Uncle Steve. I don't know. But my grandpa, he would have a couple of beers every now and then, maybe a beer at lunch at work or whatever, not at work, taking lunch break, having a beer with his burger or his coney or something. But grandma disapproved of it a lot. Now, I'd never seen my grandfather violent. I've never really seen him and grandma fight. I mean, they would argue and call each other names, and one would tell me the other one's a bitch, and the other one would tell me the other one's an asshole anyways, but they loved each other. And like I said, my family was never a really affectionate kind of physical PDA kind of family. So this one day, my grandpa, I don't know if he had a couple of beers. I can't really tell exactly what a person's level of intoxication is, but I remember my grandpa put his arm around me and pulled me in close. Like his hand was on my shoulder. I could still almost feel it. And that was probably one out of maybe the 3 times that I can ever remember my grandpa actually hugging me. And yeah, it felt strange because we weren't big in PDA in my family, but just whether he was drinking or not didn't matter, because that's when that was like a solid, complete confirmation that my grandpa really did care about me. And hey, if you got a grandpa that's still around, go give him a hug. And if you're a grandpa, you got grandkids running around your house, pick them up and hug them every single chance that you get. All right, well, like I said, not all alcohol stories are bad. Not all of them are good. And some aren't good or bad. They're just events. All right, well, thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to try to put more yoga videos on for you, more stretches, more movement videos. But I'm kind of having a good time opening up and sharing with you guys, because I'm healing. I hope that you can heal too.